You ever see a guy move into a house so creepy the whole neighborhood thinks he's lost his mind? Yeah, that was me. Let's just say my welcome committee involved a police cruiser, a furious woman with a clipboard, and rumors about ghosts that could make Stephen King blush. Funny thing though, it wasn't the dead that kept me up at night. It was the living. So there I was in the middle of Pinewood Estates, the kind of suburb that thinks individuality is a disease you treat with matching shutters and HOA citations. I'd just bought a house for $100. Not 100,000, a literal $100 bill handed over for a place that looked like it'd been designed as a set for a low-budget horror movie. Roof sagging paint, peeling the kind of porch where you'd half expect a raccoon to walk out wearing a crown and declare itself king. Everyone called it haunted. I didn't believe in that, but apparently Olivia Smith, our beloved HOA president, did. Or at least she pretended she did, judging by how fast she called the cops on me before I even got the door open. The police showed up, lights blazing. I was still reaching for my keys. I hand them my deed calm as Sunday morning. Olivia, standing behind them, just about turned the color of skim milk. You'd have thought she'd seen the ghost herself. That was the moment it clicked. There's something scarier than spirits haunting this neighborhood greed. Because if this house was truly worthless, why was she, the queen bee of conformity, working so hard to keep me away? You ever notice how every perfect neighborhood needs an ugly story? Pinewoods was my new house, the haunted one at the bend of Maple Ridge Lane. For 8 years, nobody wanted it. The grass grew in clumps, weeds learning each other's names, and the old sycamore out front leaning in like it was waiting for anyone to come home. The place didn't look haunted. It looked lonely, like it had been left behind by a world obsessed with looking good for the neighbors. But of course the tale grew in the telling. The last owner, a retired engineering professor named Henry Morrison, apparently died inside on a windy night. No funeral anybody could remember. After that, the story started. Lights flickered, music boxes played themselves, realtors said the air felt heavy, people moved in, lasted 2 weeks, left pans on the stove and mirrors on the wall, mirrors neighbors later claimed showed someone else in the reflection. The price dropped from $25,000 to $12,000, then $2,000, then finally $100. You can't even get a speeding ticket that cheap. So why'd I buy it? Well, I'm an engineer. I trust numbers, not ghost stories. I parked across from the sycamore, watched the house, felt not fear, but loneliness. Like the place was waiting for someone to remember it had value. I started my inspection camera. Rolling old habits die hard. Checked the foundation. Found the deck rotten, but the roofline surprisingly straight. The gutters, on the other hand, looked like someone had lost faith in gravity. But you know, if you could strip away the fear and slap on some sweat, the place could breathe again. Right then, out comes Olivia Blazer on arms crossed like she was about to fine me for jaywalking. "May I ask what you're doing?" she chirped, lips fighting a grimace. "Looking." "It's for sale," I replied. "Oh, that. We prefer curiosity at a minimum." She rattled off mold, unstable framing, probably asbestos, her voice dropping to a hush like she was sharing a secret, not a sales pitch. She glanced me up and down, probably ranking me against HOA standards. Then she tried to tell me it wasn't suitable, that even if I bought it, Pinewood has standards. I let her finish, then pointed out that the house wasn't under HOA jurisdiction, built before Pinewood was even a twinkle in a developer's eye. She smiled thin, said they have ways of ensuring harmony. Ghosts or lawyers, I asked. Sometimes both. Should have known that was just the opening act. You ever see someone fight so hard for something they claim is worthless? That's your cue to dig deeper. I started pulling county records, commission minutes, whatever I could find. Turns out the city was whispering about a new highway spur, a project that had sent property values soaring. And wouldn't you know, the map traced right past Pinewood's eastern edge, near my haunted house. So much for worthless. Much. The next time I showed up, it was dusk. Flashlight in hand, $100 check in my pocket. I stepped inside, dust everywhere, a faint smell of cedar. Music box on the console didn't play. I walked through, introducing myself to the empty rooms, half mocking the superstition. In the study, a diploma, Henry Morrison, Ph.D., civil engineering. The dates matched the neighborhood's origin story. Didn't feel watched, felt like I'd been recruited. On my way out, headlights splashed across the drive. Olivia again, this time with a man in a city vehicle, Department of Planning, just coincidentally stopping by. "This area's closed after dark," she said. "To who, the moon," I answered. The guy Brian Smith, as I later guessed, looked like he was hoping to disappear. They warned me off, not even subtle about it. Now, one thing about engineers, we trust what we can measure and what you can't explain. That's usually where you find your answer. Olivia's urgency wasn't about safety. It smelled like profit. I called an old friend in traffic engineering. Off the record, are they really pushing that spur? His answer, I didn't tell you this, but if it goes through, those parcels are going to sing. And mine close enough to hear the chorus. The next day, the rumor mill exploded, cold hands on the porch bats and the chimney contaminated soil. I rolled my eyes and signed the papers. I bought the haunted house because the only ghosts here were rumors, and rumors have fingerprints. Before I'd even moved in, Olivia called twice, left a voicemail suggesting Pinewood could assist with disposal. I started grinning. Assist is HOA for sterilize. First day as owner, I parked in the drive. The haunted house sign was gone. Instead, a new one. Private property, HOA, enforcement pending. I nearly laughed. The house wasn't even in their jurisdiction, but Olivia was standing by the curb blazer and clipboard lips and rage the same shade of pink. Let's be reasonable, she said, offering $5,000 cash on a house she swore was worthless. You must really hate ghosts, I joked. Her face dropped. $10,000. I'll handle the paperwork. Thanks, but no thanks. I'm already planning renovations. She warned me again, voice cracking, then stormed off. 2 days later, sirens, police out front. Olivia across the street, hand trembling on her phone, trying out for Best Actress in a neighborhood drama. I handed over my deed, smiled for the officers. It checks out. Sorry, sir. False alarm. I said, some people just don't like losing control. Officer turned to Olivia. False reporting is a misdemeanor, ma'am. Her face, oh man, you could taste the vinegar in the air. But that was just the start. Next morning, an unsigned note on my mailbox. You're not welcome here. Leave while you still can. Somebody spray-painted freak on my fence. I took photos, uploaded them to the HOA group chat, morning art project. Anyone missing a can of paint? Silence, then a defensive reply from Olivia. Let's all remember to stay civil. I shot back. You mean besides the HOA, president filing false police reports, parents stopped letting their kids ride by my house. The mailman stopped making eye contact. I could have left. But see, I've seen this game before. Corporate bullies, small-town tyrants, HOA queens who weaponize gossip. Their aim isn't to scare you, it's to isolate you. That's when Dave Miller showed up. Old guy suspenders, cane eyes, sharp as tacks. You're not the first she's tried to ruin, he said. Turns out 5 families before me, Olivia made their lives hell, then bought their houses cheap. The haunted house story. That was her masterpiece. Started after Henry Morrison died. She hated that his house was grandfathered out of the HOA, so she made sure nobody wanted it. Why hasn't anyone stopped her? I asked. Dave shrugged. She hides behind rules. Every time someone pushes back, she buries them in bylaws until they give up. I grinned. I'm not afraid of paperwork. Dave grinned back, hope in his tired eyes. You sound like Henry. That night I set up 8 motion cameras, cloud backup, because you never trust hardware when your enemy runs the neighborhood. First week caught Olivia on camera, crouched at my mailbox, snapping photos, peering through the gate. Next morning I slid a still frame into an envelope, sent it to her HOA office. No note needed. An hour later, email from her, stop with the childish accusations. You're only making things worse for yourself. Perfect, now I had digital proof. Harassment notices started showing up in my mailbox, yard violations, unauthorized repairs, disturbing community harmony. I stuck a note on each, not under HOA jurisdiction, but thanks for your concern. Her silence after that, not peace, just plotting. Then an anonymous letter. You think you're clever? You don't know who you're dealing with? I laughed out loud, said to the empty house, oh, I do. A woman who's about to lose everything. See, I wasn't just collecting ghost stories. I was collecting evidence. I built a folder called Pinewood Integrity Project, photos, screenshots, threats, everything. Every time Olivia strutted down the sidewalk, dog leash empty, I'd wave and say, smile, you're on candid hypocrisy. She shot back, this community answers to the HOA, not to you, I replied. Funny, this property doesn't answer to you either. Her smile dropped eyes on my camera's red light. Time to escalate. I called Ethan Clark, private investigator, told him I want everything on Olivia Smith, HOA, records, financials, family connections, especially with the city. You're poking a hornet's nest, he warned. Good. I brought smoke. Meanwhile, I launched a website, posted my background check, professional licenses. Underneath, rumors fade, but facts remain. Transparency builds stronger communities. I'll start with mine. Visits skyrocketed. Silence, but the kind with a new flavored doubt. Cameras caught Olivia again, this time flashlight in hand. Someone else dumping shredded documents over my fence. Bag full of burned HOA forms, fake signatures, mismatched invoices. Called the sheriff, handed over the footage. Deputy said, "You're making waves. Be careful." "I prefer rough seas," I said. Ethan came through, her brother, deputy director in city planning. The highway was coming, and she'd been buying properties through Shell LLCs, 5, all under different names, same mailing address. Over $100,000 missing from HOA funds funneled to her husband's fake maintenance company. That wasn't about haunting. That was about flipping. I brought in Sarah Chen, a lawyer who eats municipal fraud for breakfast. We filed formal requests for transparency, demanded a full audit. Olivia's face at the next meeting was priceless, stone stiff as I waved the paperwork. "Those records are confidential," she hissed. "Not from homeowners unless you're hiding something." Board members shifted, one muttered, "He's got a point." Olivia tried to adjourn the meeting, got overruled. "Dave from the back, we understand perfectly. You've been stealing from us." Soon Carol from Lot 17 shared a ledger, $22,800 for community landscaping that never happened. 3 more residents joined me. Then my lawn got trashed, bags, broken glass, the works. But security footage had Olivia on tape again. Deputies filed reports. Sarah said, "We're past harassment now. We're looking at embezzlement, fraud, abuse of office." Audit confirmed everything, tens of thousands missing, spent on vacations, jewelry, home remodels, all laundered through fake companies. We made it public. Neighborhood forum blew up. Olivia printed glossy newsletters crying fake news, her last gasp for control. At the next HOA meeting, room was packed, air electric. Carol confronted her about the playground funds, Dave about the bullying. Sarah handed out court-certified copies of the audit. One board member stood up, "I resign." Olivia lost it, screaming at the crowd, just as the deputies walked in with a warrant for her office. Olivia's empire crumbled. Her husband tried breaking into my shed to destroy evidence, caught on camera, confessed instantly. Soon the story hit the news. The apology pie from neighbors was nice, but the best was Dave clinking bottles on my porch. Feels different out here, like the air's finally honest again. But Olivia wasn't done. She launched a smear campaign, fake emails, flyers, doctored reports. I brought it all to the police. Sarah handled the countersuit, laughed when Olivia's lawyer tried a settlement for $20. "Justice isn't for sale," I replied. The trial felt surreal. Olivia, now a defendant, dressed in beige, hands trembling. Evidence stacked up, forged invoices, personal bank deposits, that infamous photo of her at the Trevi Fountain captioned as an HOA conference. Residents testified, Carol, Dave, myself, about threats, rumors, vandalism. The judge listened, unmoved by her lawyer's sob story. Even her husband confessed to trying to destroy evidence. When asked why I didn't just leave, I answered, "Bullies don't stop when you move. They stop when you make them answer for it." Olivia was convicted. Restitution fines banned from HOA office for a decade. She sold her house, left town. Dave took over the HOA. Transparency became policy. The place transformed. No more pink blazers, just neighbors, real, imperfect, building something together. The old house finally felt like home. Months later, a letter arrived, Henry Morrison's estate. Turns out he was my old professor. Left me a check, asked me to build something lasting. I started a scholarship for engineering students. Fixed up the study, kept his desk and diploma. At the first neighborhood barbecue, Dave raised his glass. To James Anderson for teaching us that integrity isn't a luxury. It's the foundation we build on. For once, I felt like part of something. You know, I used to think the scariest thing about that house was the ghosts. But standing on my porch, wind in the sycamore, I realized it's never the dead you have to worry about. It's the people who hide behind rules, using fear to get what they want. Justice isn't about revenge. It's about balance, about fixing the foundation so the cracks don't swallow everything. So let me ask you, Where's the line between standing up and giving in? When does fighting back become your only choice? Have you ever stared down someone with all the power and said, "Not today"? If you have, tell me, how did it end for you? What would you do if your home, your one safe place, was the target? Because sometimes you don't need an exorcist. You just need a little courage, a few friends, and the guts to drag the truth into the light. And when you do, when the ghosts finally rest and the liars run out of lies, that's when peace returns. That's when the house and the people in it can finally breathe free.